China fired missiles near Taiwan on Thursday in retaliation for a visit by an American lawmaker, increasing the risk of global disruptions in the flow of Taiwanese-made processor chips. Chinese ships and planes avoided military drills encircling Taiwan, which the mainland's ruling Communist Party claims as part of its territory. It was called an effective Taiwan blockade by the Hong Kong newspaper the South China Morning Post. Speaker Nancy Pelosi of the House of Representatives arrived in Beijing Tuesday for a one-day visit, defying warnings from Beijing. Prior to the ban, hundreds of Taiwanese food items, such as fish, fruit, and cookies, were imported. Although the two sides split in 1949 after a civil war, one of the world's busiest technology and manufacturing relationships exists between the two. Businesspeople in Taipei are preparing for Chinese shows of force and trade disruptions beyond the 4 days Beijing says its drills will last, said economist Alicia Garcia Herrero of Natixis CIB. They are starting to think of solutions, rerouting, delaying orders until they have more clarity, said Garcia Herrero. I think people are realizing this is not just a 4-day thing. According to the China Times newspaper, at least 40 flights to and from Taiwan were cancelled on Thursday. Taipei's Taoyuan Airport said cancellations were not necessarily related to military drills. There was no immediate indication of the possible impact on shipping, which has the potential to jolt the global economy. Taiwan produces more than half the processor chips used in smartphones, autos, tablet computers and other electronics. Chip sales to Chinese factories that assemble most of the world's consumer electronics rose 24.4% last year to $104.3 billion. Any significant disruption would create shockwaves to global industries, said Rajiv Biswas of S&P Global Market Intelligence in an email. That could push up already high inflation in the United States and Europe the same way prices spiked after the coronavirus disrupted shipping in 2020-21, said Garcia Herrero. If ports can't operate normally, we can see the consequences, she said. The ruling party's military wing, the People's Liberation Army, said it carried out precision missile strikes in the 100-mile-wide, 160-kilometer-wide Taiwan Strait that separates the island from the mainland but gave no details about the location. Taiwan's defense ministry said it tracked the firing of missiles at waters northeast and southwest of the island. The Chinese Foreign Ministry rejected suggestions the drills were dangerous and blamed tensions on the United States. China's practice is in line with international law, said a ministry spokeswoman, Hua Chunying. Washington has no official ties with Taiwan but maintains extensive informal relations and is obligated by federal law to see that the island has the means to defend itself. Pelosi was the highest-ranking elected American official to visit the island since then-Speaker Newt Gingrich in 1997. Chinese President Xi Jinping's government accuses Washington of supporting formal independence for Taiwan, a step Beijing says would lead to war. The government of President Joe Biden says it doesn't support independence but wants the dispute to be resolved peacefully. Some flights to the mainland would detour through Hong Kong. Taiwan's transport minister, Wang Kuo-sai, said Wednesday at a news conference. Business between the two sides has grown even as Xi's government stepped up pressure, sending growing numbers of fighter planes and bombers to fly around Taiwan to intimidate its government. There was a 26% increase in two-way trade last year to $328.3 billion. A total of $104.3 billion was sold by Taiwan to Chinese factories, an increase of 24.4%. Taiwan exports fruit, fish, and other food to China in small quantities, but the ban hurts areas seen as supporters of President Tsai Ing-wen. As leverage in disputes with Australia, the Philippines, and other governments, China bans imports of bananas, wine, coal, and other goods.